When the news first dropped that Grand Theft Auto The Trilogy Definitive Edition was heading to the Switch, gamers are pretty excited, myself included. Now I know I have been waiting for the day when we could finally get a traditional GTA title on a Nintendo system here, and I'm probably not alone in that. Well, the trilogy's available now on the Switch and things could definitely be a little bit better. Let's go ahead and take a look. Danny from the Famicast here. If you're new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications. Sound up in the comments down below, and we may read it out on our bi-weekly show called the Famicast. Today, though, we're taking a look at the GTA Trilogy on the Switch in this performance review. Now, before we get started, I just wanted to say that the purpose of this video is to take a look at the general performance across all of the games in this trilogy on the Switch. Now, as of right now, I've spent the most time playing San Andreas. It's actually my first time trying out the game ever. And I did also put some time into the other games there too. I just wanted to say that just right at the beginning. So the GTA Trilogy, it's kind of all over the place when it comes to visuals. I mean, it's honestly a really weird mix here. Now, the playable characters and mostly the other main characters that you'll interact with in for missions, they look pretty decent. They feature detailed faces, clothes, and an overall aesthetic that matches like the art that's present before diving into the game, the things that you'll see when the game's like loading up. Now, on the flip side, NPCs and other sub-characters that show up around town or in cutscenes look middling to just plain bad. I mean, faces look weird and sometimes lifeless. Finer details that are present with the main characters are just not there. Now, of course, with big open world games, it should be expected that NPCs or characters that you won't spend a lot of time with will look worse. Now, even with that said, I think we were all expecting just a bit more, especially given the fact that these are the definitive editions of these games. Now, I'm not sure what was being done technologically to achieve everything here, but it definitely looks like some more attention to detail is needed to flesh out the game overall. Now, it seems to me that the character models in San Andreas look the worst in the package, especially the main characters. Now, small things like faces and clothes just don't have as much details as the main characters in GTA 3 or Vice City. Now, CJ kind of has a mess of a face that is just not very detailed, and it kind of looks like a little bit washed out here. Now, his buddies, I think they can look pretty decent, but sometimes they have like weird body proportions and like stuff like that too. I mean, again, this is the game I spent the most time with in the package, but from what I've played of Vice City and 3, they don't seem to suffer nearly at the same level that San Andreas does in this regard. Now, in terms of performance, again, there's a real mix of good and bad with all of these games. Now, there are some times when things run completely fine. Other times the game will chug, or you'll notice that the environments, cars, or just people, they're just like popping in at like really close proximity. Now, while I thought this was kind of annoying, it really didn't hinder the gameplay that much. More on that in just a little bit. Now, audio is generally pretty good, voice acting spot on, and the sound effects all sound nice. There are, however, some times when the dialogue can sound a bit muffled. I noticed this quite a bit while playing San Andreas when the audio was kind of sounding a bit distorted and not quite as clear as what you would expect. Now, even though this is going to be noticeable for anybody playing, I don't think this aspect of it breaks the game. The visual discrepancies will likely play a larger part in that. Now, despite there being some major issues with the overall performance and graphics and stuff like that, in my time so far with the game, this really hasn't had too much of an effect on the overall gameplay. I mean, there are times when you'll be speeding around town and you can, like I said earlier, you can clearly see the engine trying to keep up with what you're doing. So that can be just a little bit more jarring more than anything. Now, with the horrible narrative surrounding the GTA Trilogy, deservedly so, I think there is at least one thing that many people just aren't talking about. Now, despite the obvious flaws, all of these games here actually still remain pretty fun to play. I think this is due mostly to the pretty solid updated gameplay. I like that a lot. The great stories here and the awesome voice acting. With all this deserved criticism online right around the launch, it almost seems like I'm the only one actually having fun here. Surely that's not the case. And if you guys are playing the game out there and having fun too, be sure to sign up in the comments below and let me know. The GTA Trilogy has been a bit of a weird game to review or just to kind of talk about, I think. Now, while I think that the game can be a lot of fun to play, it's difficult to ignore these technical problems that plague the overall experience here. Inconsistent character models, pop in, a chugging engine, and more to really keep this game from being the ideal way to play these games, which is weird because you would think that, PS2 games from that era not being able to run smoothly on not only the Switch, but other more powerful hardware, it's just kind of hard to believe. While I think it's possible for Rockstar to issue some kind of patches to clean up the game gamers can really do at this point in time is just wait. And I think that's something that should never be a solution. You know, if you're willing to take a chance on a busted game, you know, go for it. You may have some fun. I've been having some fun. You know, everyone else, though, definitely sit out there and just wait for some kind of an update. As always, thank you guys so much for checking out this video. If you like what you see, please feel free to drop this video a like. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We've got tons of podcasts, video reviews, looks at retro and modern games just like this, and a whole lot more. Again, this is Danny from the Famicast. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later.